Written by Kira Freed. Forced to flee. What if you suddenly had to leave your home and country with only what you could carry? And if you left behind everything familiar because you and your family were no longer safe? A man had to leave his country suddenly when fighting because a civil war came to his city. Noken and her son had to leave the country because the government started persecuting people of their ethnicity. Joseph was forced to flee after a foreign country took over the island where she lived. There are true stories about people who are refugees. What are refugees? Refugees are people who have fled war, violence, conflict, persecution, and have crossed an international border to find safety in another country. This statement comes from the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. Its purpose is to help and protect refugees around the world. The UNHCR is an agency of the United Nations. Those main purpose is to achieve world peace. The most common reason people are displaced or forced to flee is persecution. They may endanger because of their race, religion, nationality, social groups, or political beliefs. The dangers may include violence, discrimination, being illegally jailed or arrested without a good cause, being unwilling to protect its citizens, or in some cases, actively participating in the persecution. People forced to flee don't trust that they can get safe within their country's border. War is another common reason for displacement. People flee to escape is not only the death, injury, but also the risk of losing their home in a bombing war. War threatens survival in other ways as well. It prevents people from growing and harvesting crops and causes of food or water shortages. It also keeps people from earning a village and leads to poverty, medical care communities, and injuries is often limited or lacking. In addition, living in constant fear interferes with sleep, mental health, and a sense of safety. This situation makes it possible to live a normal life. Fleeing is the only option. Terrorism is the systematic use of threat of violence by groups trying to achieve their goals can also cause this type of situation. Regardless of the cause, refugees can return home. That's the condition that cause their disappointments end, so they can save and many return home. People who travel directly to the country in which they seek safety and asylum seekers, they must apply for protection. They are proof that they qualify as refugees. Others flee to another country for immediate protection and wait there for an opportunity to resettle in a third country. These people are called refugees for resettlement. The UNHCR may have often permanently resettled. Then they go through the process of to become citizens and no longer considered refugees. The following groups are something confused with refugees but have different challenges. Internally displaced persons (IDPs) must leave their home for the same kind of reason as refugees, but they don't leave their country. They still under the protection of their government. Also receive help from the UNHCR. Stateless people who are also helped by the UNHCR, not considered citizens of any country and therefore not under any country's protection. People can become stateless because of the discrimination or certain other situation. Immigrants choose to permanently move to a new country rather than being forced to move. They often move for better jobs and educational opportunity. Returnee or former refugees will return to their home after conditions have improved. People around the world have been fleeing persecution for centuries, and countries have been taking them and protecting them. However, modern laws about the protection of refugees have only been in place since the end of the World War II. That year saw the foundation of United Nations. In 1948, the UN adopted a document known as the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It describes 30 individual rights of people everywhere in the world. One of them is the right to seek and enjoy innocence from the persecutions in another country. The UNHCR was founded soon after in 1950. However, the key UN document that established guidelines regarding refugees is the 1951 Convention relating to the status of refugee. This treaty denied of the term refugee is also establishing the practice of not expelling or returning refugees to a country where life or freedom is in danger based on race, religion, nationality, social group, or political belief. The treaty was established in the World War II to have European displaced by the war and only applied to events occurring in Europe before January 1st, 1951. In 1967, new treaty increased the area to include the rest of the world. Different countries also have their own laws concerning refugees. For example, the United States Refugee Act of 1980 established a system for meeting and resettling refugees. The United States has secretly welcomed more refugees for resettlement than all of the countries combined. The President and Congress together decided how refugees will be admitted each year. That number can change because of political events around the world, as well as the election of a new president. For example, 207 or 116 refugees were admitted in 1980. That figure was 84,994 in 2016 and it dropped to 22,491 in 2018. Flee beyond the laws and numbers. The individual experience of refugees on distraction. Some have to pack a bag with their most precious possessions. However, most live in a hurry, just dropping everything and running. They may not have any food, money, warm clothes, or even shoes, nothing to remind them of the life they are leaving behind. They usually can't take much with them in any way. They can often travel on foot over a long distance. The trips can take weeks or even months. Many have no idea how or when they are reach safety. Some refugees flee as a family, others must flee alone. Even children, who may need to depend on the kindness of strangers to stay alive, they have become separated from their parents or or their parents may lose their lives as a result of the dangerous situation. Refugees are often so desperate to escape danger that they travel in unsafe ways. Some face bad weather or high heat without proper food, water, clothing, or shelter. Others rise in a food water otherwise dangerously overcrowded boat. Still, others face danger and have to secretly cross into another country and risk a long trip without food or water. Sadly, some do not survive the trip. Now what? People who flee must cross at least one international border to be considered refugees. The new country is known as the asylum country. At that point, they can file for protection within the UNHCR. After an interview, the UNHCR may send back to their country of origin if conditions there are safe. It may instead keep them where they already settled them in a different country. Refugees are only considered resettlement if their life, safety, freedom, health, or other basic rights are also threatened in asylum country. According to the UNHCR, about 8% of refugees in asylum countries worldwide need to be resettled, but fewer than 1% actually are. This because countries that accept refugees for resettlement each set limit on the number they take each year. There are far more refugees in need of the resettlement than available spaces. Most refugees end up living in the refugee camps. Temporary settlement built to provide for their basic needs. These come uncomfortable, they are far better than being on the run. They are very crowded and people don't have space or privacy. They sleep in tents, shacks, or trailers. Volunteers provide food, clothes, medical care, and sometimes schooling for children. The camps often lack electricity, running water, and protection from summer heat or winter cold. In addition, refugee camps can be dangerous, as people sometimes get attacked, especially at night. Those who are chosen for resettlement may have just in refugees before they are accepted in entry for a new country. Starting over a new country, like all people, refugees want to live where they can feel safe. They want to they want a comfortable home and work that lets them pay rent and buy food, all the things they need. Also want to keep their children safe and be able to provide them with a better life. Finally, arriving in a new country is a hopeful time that also filled with challenges. Most refugees have personal histories of trauma and don't speak the language. They may have hard time for raising children in a country so different from their own. Finding a job that pays enough for sale affordable housing can be difficult. Refugees who have special careers in their country of origin may not be able to find similar work. Even so, most refugees are grateful to live in safe homes and have dependent work. Yet even the new life looks very different from the old one. Many of them welcome the new opportunity with energy and optimism to become successful. They pursue education, find jobs, young professions, buy home, raise children, and become contributing members of their communities. They treasure the opportunity to create a better life for themselves and their family while also honoring where they've come and what they've been through.
Perfect. You got all